is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast taking a little detour to Netflix. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan, and I've been a Netflix fan since the days of the DVDs.
Oh my gosh. Wow, memory unlocked. Remember you could get out 5 at a time or whatever?
Yes. And it felt groundbreaking to get them in the mail.
Didn't it?
I loved those red envelopes.
Oh, DVDs. I don't even have a DVD player anymore.
Do you not?
I don't think so. Not one that I have used.
I don't think so.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater, longtime fan of Netflix. Can I just, as an aside, drop a Netflix news bit that I just saw?
Yeah.
Gilmore Girls, A Year in a Life, which was originally made for Netflix, is leaving the streamer.
Oh.
Its contract has run out.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy?
That's weird.
I don't have a ton of details. I did read some stuff that there's maybe some negotiation happening because I think Netflix might be in some sort of merger deal or something.
Yeah,
I don't know the details.
HBO Max.
For a show that does so well on the streamer, I'm sure original show.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's not that Netflix doesn't want it. I'm sure it's we paid whoever X dollars to have it for 10 years.
Warner Brothers. Yeah, exactly.
And now they're if you want to keep it, you got to pay up.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Interesting. On today's episode, we are discussing Ripple episode 3, The 20, which is currently streaming on Netflix. Can I tell you, speaking of DVDs, I was talking about getting screeners of episodes for our Hallmark podcast with a friend, and I said something, and she was like, oh. She's like, I didn't realize it was digital. I was envisioning them mailing you DVDs. And to that, I say, Karen, I love you, but it is 2025.
Wow.
This is a person who doesn't want to get a new car because she knows that when she does, she will no longer have a physical key to put in the ignition.
Oh my goodness.
All out of love, though. All out of love. If you're listening to this episode and you're new to us, hey, follow us on Instagram where we are Girls Gone Hallmark to keep up with all the new episodes and shows that we are covering.
Yeah, it's Hallmark heavy over there, but we are dipping our toe into some Netflix content, seeing how that lands with our audience, and it's landing. So
indeed. And as you mentioned, I don't know if it was in last week's Ripple review or one of the other many reviews we've dropped, but we have gotten several recommendations from listeners of other movies that we should cover, especially some upcoming ones. So Girls Gone Netflix isn't going anywhere.
Girls Gone Netflix. Just a full brand change, huh?
Hey, let's hear a synopsis of Ripple episode 3.
A flyaway dollar bill. It was not a dollar. It was a $20 bill. A flyaway $20 bill leads Chris toward an old music client. Walter and Tara enjoy an afternoon at Nate's bar, and Arya shares exciting news with John. I mean, can we get any vaguer with this synopsis here?
I know.
Vaguer? Is that a word? Can we get any more vague?
I don't know if vaguer is a word. Scott Smith directed this episode. He has directed a ton of Hallmark projects like Frozen in Love and Autumn in the Vineyard, as well as episodes of the Signed, Sealed, Delivered series.
Can I just stop you there for a second for listeners who may just be tuning in for Ripple and not have any Hallmark context?
Yes.
So this show was originally going to air on Hallmark Plus, which is the Hallmark Channel streamer. And that's why you might hear us say stuff like, oh, he directed Hallmark projects like XYZ. There's a lot of crossover between the networks here.
Yeah. And in this case, because this is a Netflix episode, I would have pulled out other content, but the vast majority of his work is very Hallmark heavy.
Got it. Joni Lefkowitz wrote this episode of Ripple. Joni has written on series like Jane the Virgin, New Girl, and Chasing Life.
Phoenix Ellis joins the cast as Gabriel, Finn's brother. He has 9 acting projects under his belt and has also appeared in Christmas CEO on Hallmark.
Eden Broda plays Rebecca. Eden's previous credits include a spot on Workin' Moms and the TV movie Styled with Love.
Christian De La Cortina plays Finn's dad, David. Most recently, he appeared in the TV series Dumas.
Perry Voss plays Finn's mom, Rainey. Last year, she appeared in 10 episodes of this series, Stories from My Gay Grandparents. Where did that air?
I don't know. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back with our first impression of episode 3 of Ripple. Hey, Wendy, what was your first impression of this episode, The 20?
Ripple being in the top 5 shows this week on Netflix tells me that audience will absolutely show up for storytelling that doesn't follow a template.
Ooh. Although this story has created its own template.
For sure. But if you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
All right.
My first impression is I think we may have hit an all-time high with the number of times I said no while watching a single episode of television.
Let me tell you. So I may have mentioned in a previous episode that I told my husband about this show. I was like, I have a recommendation for you. And then afterwards I told him that it was supposed to be a Hallmark show because he doesn't watch Hallmark with me. We were chatting and I was like, oh, are you still watching Ripple? And he's like, yeah, I just got to the part with ... And I was no. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, you're not there yet. I'm like, I am not. It's okay. Spoilers don't bother me because I'll still watch whatever anyway.
Yeah, same.
And then last night I heard he was watching it. I was upstairs and I came downstairs and I was like, oh, you still watching Ripple? He goes, yeah, I just watched the end. And I was like, okay, shh, don't tell me what happens, but tell me what happens. And he refused to tell me what happens. I was like, please tell me, Nate is still alive. And he wouldn't say anything.
Oh, no. Nate has to survive. We need a season 2. We can't have a season 2 without Nate.
Listen, as someone who has had stage 2 cancer, it's very
survivable.
Recoverable.
Yes.
Yeah, survivable. So Nate's going to live, guys.
Look,
I'm putting it out there.
I feel like we're going to have some scares with Nate. It's not going to be just a straight line trajectory, chemo, surgery, yay, right? There's going to be something that's going to frighten us. But making the choice for it to be stage 2 is just enough for it to be okay, this is scary. We need to deal with it, but not you're definitely not going to be around in the next few years. Scary.
Yeah, because let me tell you, I am currently watching The Big C, which is also streaming on Netflix and also about cancer. And our main character has stage 4 cancer in that series. And so you can see where that is heading.
Yeah, that's not great. Well,
and on top of it, we're reading through our news and notes here. And our writer of this episode also wrote on the show Chasing Life, also about cancer.
Indeed.
So I got to tell you, I was like, do I need to watch that show? And I think if I was in Megan's head right now, you would be saying, no, Wendy, you don't need to watch that show.
Yeah, I think you might be not doing good things for yourself right now.
Overdoing it in cancer content.
Maybe when we're done with this and The Big C and you've taken a nice long break.
I think you might be right.
Hey, let's talk what we liked about this episode.
Well, for me, the central idea of this episode is about basically life keeps moving even when everything is shitty happening around us, right? I mean, I think that applies to anything. If you have an illness or death in the family or whatever, life does keep moving on. What I really liked a lot was how they opened this episode with the voiceover of Nate talking about this kind of thing, everyday moments, and about life still continuing, but people still show up. And I thought it was great. Again, if I may, I am watching these episodes with very close eyes. I kind of hate it, to be honest. because I can't just
Enjoy it.
let it wash over me and enjoy it. I'm like, what's the deeper meaning here? How can I make the connection? What is happening? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
So when that $20 bill floated off, I was like, okay, here we go. What ride are you taking us on right now?
Yeah. So, okay, I want to talk about a couple of things you said. First of all, Nate's voiceover. The voiceover is different every episode. Started with Arya, then we had Walter, now we have Nate. Have you noticed that the lines that they say in their voiceover make it into the episode?
I only noticed it in this episode.
I noticed it with Walter last week. I need to go back. I have to assume they did the same thing with Arya because it happened with both Walter and Nate. I love that because it's not obvious. It's not obvious that we're hearing a bit of dialogue in that moment. It sounds like voiceover narration. Also, to your point of the $20 bill, we immediately understand this is the catalyst of this episode. You talked about the show not being formulaic, but it has written its own formula. So viewers immediately know this is going to bring everybody together this episode. And the fact that I understand we're only 3 episodes in, but that they did this, I have to assume 8 times, is pretty incredible storytelling if you ask me.
Same.
Let's talk about Nate and Claire.
Woof. Go ahead.
We start with them having a very uncomfortable exchange in their home kitchen. And once again, we do not have all of the information here, but Claire is trying so hard to, on one end, maybe just make things a happy home. On the other end, it seems like she's trying to end this separation. She wants them to be a couple. And when he says he's not working, she's like, I thought you liked to stay home when you were working. And he said, I liked to do that when this was home. Ooh. Is such a gut punch.
How can you not take that personally if you are not Claire?
Well,
or if you are Claire.
Indeed.
Sorry.
And then she wants to be there for chemo and she says, don't be a martyr. And he says, that would imply I actually want you there. I mean, Nate is done with her.
He's so mean to her. He is so mean to her. You're right. We don't have a ton of context of like how he got to this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
That makes me feel bad for Claire in these moments.
Right. So we get a little bit of a reveal. We mentioned that red folder in last episode. We learned that Nate had found this folder with her MLM paperwork inside of it. And Claire's gotten herself into a little bit of a sticky situation. But this just opens up more questions because she says, oh, well, I was just trying this out as a side hustle to make a little extra money to get us out of the financial stress that I caused. So,
I missed that note.
Yeah.
I heard the side hustle thing, but I missed that what other financial stress she had put on them.
Yes.
Oof. Okay.
So look, she's trying to be a team. Nate just wants to get away from her. And you're right. I do feel badly for her, but I also think it's very clear there's a lot of information we don't have because everything we know about Nate outside of his marriage, Nate's a good guy. Mm-hmm. So these are hard for me because I'm like, wait a minute. This isn't good guy Nate. Later in the episode, Nate's mom shows up. I thought Claire was going to tell her everything.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it looked like she was going to be like, this secret is too heavy to bear. Instead, she just tells her that they're separated. But his mom's like, oh, no, separation, pish posh. Like, Nate's dad and I separated all the time. We're still married. And this gives Claire so much false hope. And then I knew in that moment, that she was going to be like, oh, it's up to me to save this marriage and that she was going to go to chemo. I knew. And then she was going to see them through the window.
Yeah. That's rough because like she walks up at the hospital, sees them through the window. They're like canoodling, right? Basically. And Finn, our little young patient, sees the whole thing happen.
Yes.
I wonder if that will come into play at some point or... I mean, it can't be just coincidental. Like, is Finn going to say something to Nate about it? next time, or who knows? But Claire getting that information, that had to be tough.
Yeah, I did feel for her.
Just a couple of little things.
Yeah.
We have Walter and his physical pain, right? What I loved is like he's saying like, I need to see a chiropractor. Ellis puts him together with her girlfriend who is PT, and then the PT comes over, and I thought it was interesting. The PT was talking about like your body holding on to your grief is manifesting into like physical pain, basically.
Yes.
I thought that was just an interesting conversation.
Yes, but are you worried about Walter?
I'm super worried about Walter until the end of this episode. God, now you just put that in my head. Is Walter going to make it? Because Walter is probably my favorite character.
Walter is the heart and soul of this show for me. I thought that physical therapy scene, I know you want to talk about the end, but just that physical therapy scene, Rebecca is asking Walter questions about his pain. She looks concerned to me. But then she says,
bump on that.
Then she says, your pain can manifest, like your emotional pain can manifest physically. And in my brain, I was like, one of two ways. Please let that just be it. But they just talk. He talks about this pain he's in so much. And they show him, he does the oof getting off the couch, which look, I do sometimes too. And he's uncomfortable. So it just does worry me. But there's too many other things going on. I can't have something else befall my sweet Walter.
Yeah, because you're right. There's so many other things like where my brain is drawn to in terms of the storytelling that I hadn't given Walter's actual physical pain much thought. And I don't know if I can go there. I don't know if I can go there. Yeah. Listen, Walter, I love Walter, but when he and Tara are at the bar and he's asking the question, so Ellis, how does she identify? And he's asking for explanation, and this scene is done so well. Marcy T. House is such perfection in this scene. The queer newsletter that went out, stop it right now.
So good. And Walter goes, oh, no. Like, that makes perfect sense.
I loved this so much. And at its core, I always have to go, oh my God, this was going to be on Hallmark. This was going to be on Hallmark.
Gosh.
Plus, it's such a freaking missed opportunity that Hallmark sold this show.
I have so many mixed feelings about it because on one hand, it's getting such bigger exposure on Netflix.
Number five on Netflix.
Yes. And, Netflix US, Netflix Canada, Netflix UK. It's doing well on all of these platforms. It would not have gotten that exposure on Hallmark Plus.
I know.
On the other hand, what a get this would have been for Hallmark to hopefully things like this. It's what I hope when we talk about 12 Dates of Christmas on Hallmark. I'm like, let this bring people in. And by bringing people in and supporting this new content, I know this isn't a Hallmark episode, but my concern about Hallmark is the community is small and they need to grow it. And they're not going to grow it by doing the exact same thing. Like, you're going to keep those people, but you're not going to get new ones.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Like our podcast.
Exactly.
Okay.
I did love at the end, though, when we see Walter with his big bucket of coins and he's just out feeding the meter. We didn't talk about at the opening of the episode with the guy running down and like getting a ticket for not having a paid meter, but it all comes for full circle. And just Walter is just such a good guy.
It's funny because in the final scene when that guy's running to his meter, that's also when Arya's about to go for a run. And I was like, oh gosh, is something going to happen here? It just something about it. And then he arrives at his meter and it's been paid. And I was just like, oh, Walter. Cut to Walter feeding the meters. Walter experiencing joy is one of my favorite things.
And same.
Frankie Faison is so good in those moments.
So good. And I want to say too, there's something with the set design with him in his apartment. It's so well done when he's sitting at like their little like kitchenette and there's all these like beautiful like family photos behind. Have you noticed like on the wall? It just really gives like that was his happy place with Brenda. And
Yeah.
Brenda's not there anymore. And then he has these like memories of her. I mean, and even like the lighting, the way they shoot the scene, it's a little bit darker in those apartments. Like it feels kind of lonely. That's why I love watching this relationship with him and Tara unfold. When she calls and he's like, "What do you need?" And she goes, "Why do I need? I don't need anything to call a friend." And I just was like, man.
Well, and also when he's like surprised that he's still a priority for her even after her date. Like the
Right.
joy when she says, "Let's have lunch tomorrow." And he realizes, oh, our worlds can expand to include all of these people.
Yes, Walter.
I'd like to talk about Nate and Chris.
Yes.
I adore their relationship.
Uh-oh. Do I hear a butt?
No but. No, it's not a but. I adore their relationship when he calls her and they make plans for takeout and she's like, "Oh, I don't know where you live." Every exchange they have is like they look each other in the eye. Sometimes there's a ton of humor about it because she talks about, "Well, it's scary to go out on my own." And he goes, "Yeah, so's chemo." Like, I just like the way they give it to each other. But then he lets her in. She's the first person that he really lets in on what's going on with his health. He has a panic attack. They have that moment on the floor, which is so great. She shows up for him at the hospital, and I loved that hospital scene. Chris shows up, Finn's there, Finn's cracking jokes. Chris connects with Finn in this totally effortless way. Obviously, chemo is not a fun experience for anyone involved, but you can see even in the background, some of the other patients are laughing along with them. But, of course, at the end, Chris is gone.
Yeah, where'd she go? Because she was just going to go outside and wait for him.
So, I mean, it's in my wishes, but I'm like, I really hope this is just she's like in another room and she's going to pop in and he's going to have that moment of panic of like, I let people in and they abandoned me.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
And she's going to come back and he's going to realize like, no, people do show up. But my other concern is, was it too much? Did she have this moment where they were like family?
Yeah. And she's like, this is too much for me.
Yeah.
Too much too soon.
I don't know.
God, I hope not. I
don't
hope
know.
not. I don't feel like Chris is like that, but
I don't either. But where did she
I don't
go?
know. Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about John telling Desi, like, we've gone too far, basically? And then she sends the bracelet back.
I love the way Desi just throws his words back in his face when she says, "Oh, you want to talk about boundaries now after you used me to unload all of your marital issues?"
Yikes.
And she sends the bracelet back with a comment of wouldn't want to cross, a boundary. I have a lot of concerns about what's happening there and the many, many near misses with her seeing messages from Desi and her seeing the envelope from Desi just make it feel like disaster is looming. Everything's going well for her in her life. Chris wants to represent her. She is feeling really good about her relationship with John. They're in this like fun, flirty space. Obviously stuff's going on with him, but she's feeling good about it. She's even like, I'm going to take their advice and go for a run. I'm going to shake off the stress. But all of these things are looming and I'm concerned.
Yeah, and she thinks she might be pregnant.
And I have to assume that she's not, and that's going to cause something is going to cause an emotional come down for Aria.
Yeah.
I did love Nate revealing to Ellis what's going on.
Oh, it's in my did you see that?
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I love that. Like he has to, right? Obviously, he needs to. In my did you see that is I like the way that they did that scene. He tells her, or actually he goes, "I have something to tell you," basically. And then the next scene is her just like up pacing. I just like that they cut the part where he actually tells her again, like, we don't need to, I mean, we got it earlier. He told Chris earlier, right? I just thought it was so well done how they did that.
Yes.
How they went from
Agree.
one scene to the next. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some wishes.
I only have one.
Uh-huh.
And it has to do with Claire. Is mostly like we're only getting like this one-dimensional kind of perspective of like Nate, and we talked about it a little bit, but Nate is mad at Claire. I need more from that. Like I need a better understanding. I need Claire's perspective of the situation. Also, and I don't know if you caught it, but there was a moment between Nate's mom and Claire where Nate's mom says something like she gives her Arya's ring, which we
Yes.
didn't talk about, but Arya loses her ring. It comes into the jewelry store. I'm guessing her mom owns a jewelry store. Is that what you were picking up?
I wasn't necessarily picking that up, or that she had just gone into a store and it just so happened that it had been sold to the store.
Got
and
it.
she was able to purchase it.
Yes. Anyway, but she gives it to Claire and she's like, oh, we had kind of a rocky start. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I need more information there. So, I mean, I think we'll get to it eventually, maybe. There's only so much you can put in a 45-minute episode, I guess.
Well, yeah, and they have to keep you coming back, and they want you to have complicated feelings about that. There are many, many unanswered questions, of course, 3 episodes into a season. But that is my biggest one, and where I feel like I don't have solid footing is the backstory with Claire. And I don't want to root against her, but I do feel like we are going to get some explanation for the reason Nate feels so... What's the word? How do you describe?
Resentful?
Yes. I mean, he's just angry.
Yeah.
I want to say, like, he's not even really trying to live civilly. He can't help but be mean. But if you are in a constant state of frustration with someone, perhaps that's just the way it is. And if we knew more, I mean, what has she done? Obviously, he's worried about the financial state of his bar. She's caused them some financial stress. What's going on? That's what I want to know. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then I would like to know, is she going to confront Nate about Chris? Is she going to hold that in her back pocket for a weak moment? Is she going to hold that against him in spite of the fact that they're separated? Is she going to throw it in his face like he's cheating? I thought it was really great when the nurse at chemo was like, is this your wife? And Chris goes, you're married? Really funny.
That's so funny. Yeah, so funny.
I know we talked some of our did you see that moments, but do you have any more?
I do. A couple quick little things. Chris casually saying the word ass.
Oh.
Which Netflix, not a problem, right? But again, was originally for Hallmark Plus. Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
They don't get that kind of language, even on Hallmark Plus. The next one was when Arya and John are out eating pizza. They're out in front of a place called Carrot Common, which I was like, where is this place at? It is in Toronto, which we knew this was where it was filmed, but it's a grocer. I just thought it was cute. I was like, what's Carrot Common?
Yeah.
And finally, Walter calling the bar my cheers.
Oh, yeah, that's
loved it.
mine too.
Loved it.
Well, the quiet devastation of Finn and her family and her brother, whose name is Gabriel. When he and his mom are walking into the hospital, we have no idea who they are at that moment. And they're just, how was your day? And, oh, let's have tacos for dinner. That sounds great. He's the boy at the beginning of the episode who his money flew away and he couldn't buy the pretzel. And I was like, just give him the pretzel anyway.
Oh, that's funny that was your takeaway from it.
I mean, he seemed to be having a bad day. That was the image. He looked kind of forlorn in that moment. I'm projecting. But then they arrive at Finn's room and she's like, oh, I'm starving. And the parents are so glad that she finally has an appetite. And she's like, let's have spaghetti. And Gabriel is completely forgotten the quiet devastation of, he is collateral damage in her cancer journey as well.
Yeah, that sucks.
Was hard to see. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark, a Bramble Jam podcast. If you love this podcast, we love your 5-star ratings and reviews. It's the best free thing you can do to support this podcast right in the Apple Podcast app. You can drop a 5 stars, say a few quick words about why you enjoy this podcast, and we'll be back next time with more Hallmark and Netflix reviews. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.